Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. This is Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Mentor Select serves parents who are raising teens. Every week, R.I.C.H interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. All while parenting them to be successful adults, focusing on social and emotional development, something that's left out of the classroom, but not in ours. Be sure to subscribe, share, and rate. This is Mentor Select, and this is your host, R.I.C.H Phillips.
Welcome to episode 87 of the Mentor Select podcast. I am thrilled that you joined us for another phenomenal episode. Before we get into the interview, I just wanted to make sure that you all are being safe. There's so much devastation going on with the coronavirus pandemic. And just know that I'm praying for your safety and your family's safety, and just hope that you're adhering to the guidelines set by your local government, because we certainly want to make sure that we beat this together, come out on the other end. So make sure you stay safe. For a real treat today, we have Jedidiah Collins, the founder of R.I.C.H to Veteran. How are you, Jedidiah?
I am doing wonderful. This is a nice little afternoon treat for me, and I just appreciate the opportunity to connect with people like yourself who have the audience and the message that I'm really passionate about.
Well, we're certainly thrilled to have you and looking forward to all of the wealth of information we know you're going to share with us. So where are you joining us from, Jedidiah?
I'm just outside of Seattle, a town called Bellevue, which if you haven't heard of it, you will soon enough. Amazon has been moving their second headquarters into Bellevue, and Facebook, Google, T-Mobile, Microsoft are right in there. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I'm a California kid at heart, but I married a girl from Bellevue, and it was a short conversation of where we were going to land.
All right, yeah, definitely wise. Make the final decision. I know all about that, but
yes,
it seems
sir.
like Bellevue is going to be the new Silicon Valley. So you still have...
It's been a scary rising, but it's doing nothing but going up. But we'll see. We'll see how long I can last here.
That's great. Well, Jedidiah, tell us about R.I.C.H to Veteran. What was your inspiration for founding it?
Yeah, R.I.C.H to Veteran has been a mindset for me for a long time. So it began as I was a rookie playing in the National Football League, and I got cut a dozen times, and people are always kind of shocked and think I'm over exaggerating. No, it was just about a baker's dozen, almost 13 times. So
wow.
What I challenged myself with was, as I got to the opportunity to walk into a lot of different locker rooms. First off, I changed that mindset of failing and getting cut to opportunities to walk into different locker rooms. And I started to look at the veterans, the guys who were achieving success. And I started to realize this was an amazing room to be in. I was just a fly on the wall, a no-name guy, but I was getting to work and train next to the best in the world. And I challenged myself after I went through a number of rooms to really sit down. I'm a big journaler. So I sat down and I started looking through my entries and looking through my memories of veterans that I was getting to experience. What was different about them? What were they doing that continued their success, that made them be able to survive this new wave of youth and less money and healthier? Right. And that's where R.I.C.H to Veteran began, was simply taking these lessons and principles of success and developing it into my personal curriculum of how I was going to find success, which I ended up playing for 7 seasons in the NFL. But the most beautiful part of R.I.C.H to Veteran is, as I experienced guys who were the best at their position, perennial Pro Bowl players, I would put them in the rookie category. People always looking for growth, always looking to improve, always looking to continue and establish their success. And so as I've entered into the corporate world, that mindset has just come with me. And now I take those similar behaviors and concepts and I translate them into the corporate environment and try to find success on a new field.
Wow, that is great. It definitely gives you a unique perspective, and having that insight and being able to, like you say, you're playing with the people that are the best in the world in their position. Not too many people can say that, but you're in a very elite category. So to bring that experience to the corporate world, I can see it's have to be very valuable. And I love how you mentioned, regardless if the person is at the top of the best in their position, they're always looking for growth. Put them in that rookie category. I like that. Now, you mentioned as far as how you were able to change your mindset, and after being cut, just looking at that as, okay, hey, it's another opportunity to walk in another locker room. How were you able to change that mindset? Because definitely people struggle with dealing with any adversity or losses or what some people consider failure, but you was able to change that and reframe it to say, hey, this is a new opportunity.
I love that your audience is parents, because one of the things, especially as a young parent, I look at the world today and we shy so much away from failure. We shy away from taking risks and falling on our face or getting knocked down. And truly, where I adopted this mindset was growing up. Growing up, my dad prepared this game in our backyard, one-on-one basketball between me and my two older brothers, called King for a Day. And we played thousands of times. And the king of the day would get to boss the other two brothers around. You know, the trash had to go out. I'm thirsty, go get me a glass of water. Even my dad would chip in and be like, you know, the kennel needs to go get cleaned. Who do you think should clean the kennel? And so this adaptation of, we played thousands of King for a Day, and I remember very vividly winning twice. So I lost all the time. And I began to realize I wasn't going to be able to control the outcomes in the NFL, in sports, in school, in business. The outcomes were something that I hoped to achieve, but winners and losers set the same goals. So I started to peel back and say, well, what can I focus on? What do I control? And I actually heard a veteran say the quote, "All I'm here to do is mow my grass." And that quote stuck with me, mow my own grass. And it was this adage of, my success was never going to be found in my neighbor's yard. I couldn't control what some would say is failing. And what I could control is stop seeing it as that and start seeing it as feedback. People see failure as an end, or they see it as a beginning. And that was my notion to begin to change that mindset, was to stop seeing what I thought was an end and start seeing a beginning to something I had gained from, something I was now a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit farther, and be able to approach it that way. And so that mow my grass, mow your grass mentality, I really said, I can prepare. I know I can control my preparation. I know I can control my focus, and I know I can control my attitude. And the attitude piece, especially for young people, young men and women growing up, that attitude, that mindset is just a major, major one. And I have a lot of different practices on how I control that. But that is one that no matter what, if you're in life, you've got kicked in the teeth, and that attitude part will be able to get you up the next day.
Wow. Love it. I've never heard the saying that winners and losers set the same goals. I love that. I want to win, but
yeah, and true. I don't want to discredit goal setting. Goal setting is vastly important, but that is the truth. I remember at Washington State, where I was playing football, every team I've been on, we broke down Pac-10 champs. And I would imagine the other 9 colleges and teams were doing the same. So it's what do we actually control? We don't control that outcome today. Let's focus on what we can. Mow your grass today.
Definitely. So it sounds like that competitive spirit was started in your backyard and led y'all into the NFL. I got to think of a game like that from our kids.
Yeah. Well, you could take King for a Day. I'll tell you what, it bonded us because we were always together.
Right.
And it did form that competitive spirit. Obviously there might be some negatives to it, but
more pros than cons. Yeah.
Exactly.
Great. So Jedidiah, what did you do once you transitioned from the NFL?
So this is where my journey really began. This is where my passion truly began. My first paycheck in the NFL, I was sad to admit I was a spender. I took my first paycheck and it went right back out the door.
Okay.
And I woke up and I realized, let me side note for a second. I got to finish the story. I bought an engagement ring. My wife and I are still happily married. So it was a wise investment 10 years later.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a very poor financial decision. And I remember waking up realizing I'm going to take the physical toll. I was a fullback, lead blocking fullback. I was going to punish my body. If I wasn't going to walk out of the locker room with anything to show for it, what was I really doing?
Right.
And so my dream started to change, and I realized I had to go get educated. So I did what most people do. I went and got Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I went and got Jim Cramer books. I went and got Warren Buffett books, Susie Orman. And I started my education that way. And then I ran into a mentor who challenged me and said, listen, I love your questions. I love that you're learning. If you really want to understand this world, go get your CFP, become a certified financial planner, and it will really open up your eyes in your concepts. So that's what I did. Each offseason in the NFL, I'd tackle one of those tests and began to study. And as I did that, as my education grew, guys in the locker room started asking me questions more and more. Even my brothers, who are very highly educated, had no answers to these money questions. Nobody had sat down and had a class or a course around how to deal with this issue of getting a paycheck. So as I left the game, I knew the financial world was something I wanted to venture down. But 5 years ago, there really wasn't a financial education industry. There was some nonprofits. There are some good people doing it. But for me to just jump into that space was not really a solution. So I went to work as an advisor, as a CFP in wealth management for the last 5 years. And I'm very proud to say 2 months ago, I took the leap of faith. I followed some words that I know you live by in living on purpose and finding your passion.
Yeah.
And today I'm about to publish my first book, Your Money Vehicle. Very intentional on the your part, because it's not my journey. It's not my story. It's not my book. I'm interested in preparing young people in this journey of money, and not to make money the focus. The big objective is to stop making money the noun of the subject. Money is a vehicle. Money is a tool that is going to take you where you want to go. And that is kind of the mission I'm set out on, is how can I teach young people to use money, use it as that verb, use it as that vehicle that is going to make the freedom and make them live the life they want to.
Wow. That's very exciting. Congratulations on your first book.
Yeah. Well, if in our next podcast I get to also claim Amazon bestseller as you have, it will be a neat adventure, brother.
You being as competitive as you are, I'm sure you will.
There's a lot of work going into these things, I'll tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
The writing part's the easy stuff.
Oh, yeah, the marketing part, that's the hard part.
That's a game right there.
Yeah, but I'm excited to get your book and read it. And what really stands out to me about your journey since leaving the NFL is, like I said, doing off season, you're studying, taking a certified financial planning exams, studying for it. I'm sure not many of your other teammates were doing that.
No, they weren't. I got a lot of ridicule when we'd, go hang out at the pool. Jed would always show up an hour or two late. But, it gave me, and something that every athlete, whether you played in high school, college, or professional, is going to go through that transition. And that's anybody who identifies themselves. If I'm in high school and I'm a dancer, I'm in the drama, art, whatever your identification is, the day that ID kind of goes away, you need another thing. You need another direction to head. What this subject did for me was, as football, the identity I was for 20 years of my life, once that folded, I had another direction. I wasn't a Jed, the finance guy yet, but I at least knew what road I wanted to head down, which was massive for me in my transition.
That's fantastic. So tell us how your book is going to really educate and empower teens. How does it apply to teens?
Yes. So I love the acronym USE. My objective is to teach you to use money. And by use, I mean USE, understand, strategize, and be efficient with money. And so what I love over the last few years is I've been teaching live workshops is having parents either come sit or have conversations after the fact around the variety of topics that we address. So many of the personal finance books in the past have been centralized around investing. How can I seek better returns, find alpha, or do this, that, and the other? I think investing is a very vital part of the vehicle. It's the engine and the sexy roar. But Your Money Vehicle approaches 10 different subjects around finances, around money. Investing being one of the chapters, but there are so many other facets that we need to address. And to go with that mow your grass mindset, investing is one of the roads we really don't control a lot of. Anybody who tells you they can guarantee you or give you a return, run the other way because it's stealing from somebody.
Right.
And so where I think I can kind of separate is in this journey, we begin. This is the financial literacy level 1 course. And obviously the other levels are on the horizon. But to begin the conversation, you have to begin with the fundamentals. And so it's, I want to teach people about credit scores and all of the good things around there. But we got to begin with what credit cards are, what the credit trap is, taxes. People want to talk about tax strategies. I'm in. But let's back into what the progressive tax code looks like. In insurance, I think understanding what a premium and a deductible are and why we all can drive in a car because we transfer the risk of driving around. We go through actual vehicles around 401ks versus the Roth account. One of my major action items, because each chapter has its own series of action items, the major action item of the book is to open 1 million Roth accounts because I feel if a student reads the book and wants to use money, again, that use term, they will see the benefits of opening a Roth account in their teens or 20s. That 50 years of tax-free growth, no matter who you are, you got to know the tax code is going to go one way, and that's up. Our national debt doubles every 6. By the time we finish this podcast, our debt will have doubled again. There is no way out of that hole by making people pay less taxes. So if you pay these taxes today, you're going to save in the long run. And so that's really what the fun part of my game is I address these CFP, these wealth management topics, but I tell them all through a story. So with taxes, we go to an ice cream parlor. With premiums, we go to a boat store. With vehicles, we go to cutting down trees and pruning different trees. Each one with investments, it's let's open up a lemonade stand. And so with each chapter, with each subject, I really try to tell a story that everybody will understand and then build from there and be able to impact them and see that they can take that first step.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. And I think traditionally with just with investment, financial literacy, the challenge with kids is it hasn't been really put into the story format or in terms where they can understand it, and their eyes are just glazed over. You start talking about 401ks and all of that. But if you're able to put it into a story format, that really can help it resonate with them. And then also it helps for you. You have that unique background. Hey, I played the NFL. That's going to automatically get their attention. Hey, maybe I should listen to Jedidiah.
You get some people interested, but that's what is so neat. My rookie year, we had the Morgan Stanley guy come in a suit and tie and talk to us. And I was interested and I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. So I know nobody else in the room did. And then and I was first to admit this, 4 or 5 years ago when I started, I went back to my alumni, Washington State, and I said, hey, I want to teach a class. I'm a CFP now. I'm in this world. Here are 10 things I want you all should know. And very quickly, I looked around and the feedback was, this was great, but you started on step 7 and you really need to go back to step 1. And so that's what's been this process of, all right, if I want you to understand this level 3 concept, what do I need? What are the building blocks to get there? Where do we need to begin? That's what this level 1 course is the building blocks of that financial plan.
Right. Yeah. I like that. And like I said, going back to the fundamentals, you can't learn advanced skills if you don't know the fundamentals yet.
Yeah. You got to go to base camp.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really cool. So in terms of how do your workshops work? Are you doing them in person, online?
So as you know, and as we're experiencing, what the beautiful thing is the scalability of today's business is through online platform.
Right.
I love that I'm getting to document my curriculum in a book. I also humble myself to realize my target demographic doesn't necessarily all read books or want to read more books.
Right.
So I challenged myself and said, all right, well, where are they? They're on YouTube. So I created a series of 40 videos and an online course, and it connects perfectly with each chapter and section of the book. And so now you can read it and you can watch it online. The workshops, I love getting together in a room. Not right now. Here in Seattle, we're having a little bit of a outbreak of the coronavirus, and so nobody's getting in big rooms right now. But I love gathering, especially young minds, 30, 40, 50 people that say, all right, now we're going to learn from one another. We're going to be interactive. We're going to engage in the stories. We're going to have games and gamify the learning process. And that visualization of what the concepts are really bring things to life. So
right.
I've challenged myself. I love live. Live is typically the best way to learn. But how do I translate through webinars, through online on-demand videos? That is where I think I can expand my reach, because about 2 years ago, oddly enough, in the same week, and this is why it stuck with me so well, in the same week, I went to coffee with 2 different people, and they said, you're going to reach and impact 1 million people. And I thought they were crazy. I was like, you guys are not a chance. And then the second person said it, and I was like, all right, maybe something to it. But that is the truth, and that's the reality. Is this book, this online course, this is something that I'm going to package and be able to deliver to high schools, colleges across the country, and say, everybody's been asking for a financial literacy course that is interactive, that is engaging, that is entertaining to some degree, and also gives clear actions. Here it is. What's the next question?
Love it. And yeah, like you said, you package it and then deliver it however the market wants it. So not, some people read the book, some prefer YouTube, some prefer just the different various learning styles and platforms.
I got to ask you, is your book on Audible?
It is.
It is.
For that reason, because me personally, I love audiobooks. So I rarely read paperback books now. I love audiobooks so much, and I get to listen to them while I'm driving, so I get to multitask.
Yep. No. Hey, our commute, everybody has a commute these days. So
right, exactly.
You're right. If you have a message, you got to give it to the specific way different people want to digest it. And that's my next feat over the next month, is to record that Audible.
Love it. And then also, as you mentioned, just the impact, your reach. So leverage, you're only one person. So that if you're just doing live events, then hey, that limits your reach. But a book can reach millions, online course, YouTube. Yeah, it's unlimited. So that's definitely great.
Again, with that rookie to veteran, with the scarcity and the abundance, I'm a big believer in mindset. Last year in 2019, I delivered 87 live workshops.
Wow.
And I enjoyed it. You know, there were some days I would do 2. There were some weeks I would do 6 or 7. But I truly, thoroughly got energy from it. And then I ended the year and I was like, that was awesome. But you're right. If I want to have the impact I'm after, Jed can't go deliver 1,000 workshops. I'm building a team, and we have more deliverers, but we gotta use the resources available today.
Yeah, and I don't think your wife would approve of that. You going at all.
They much more prefer, all right, Daddy's downstairs doing a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. At least they can see you. Indeed.
Exactly.
That's great. Now, in terms of, in addition to buying your book and your course, online course, the other different your offerings, what are some tips and strategies you have where parents can implement starting today, just as far as building their teens' financial knowledge base and just those fundamentals?
Yeah. So one, I'm very big on, we mentioned goal setting earlier. So I think young people, especially, they will tell you why they're interested in money. And until they've realized that purpose or the reasoning, they're not going to fully dive into the money world. They're going to try to stay out of it as long as possible.
Okay.
But the goal should not be. I use the word freedom. I think the traditional form of retirement is gone. So I never did talk about the R word. I use freedom.
Okay.
I don't think a 15, a 18, a 22-year-old should have freedom as their goal. I believe RICH goals is an acronym I love to use: reachable, individual, controllable, and happy. RICH goals need to be broken down and reverse engineered into what is the goal this year. In this year, can you start something today that will come to fruition 1 year from now? This month, what is a bad habit you can approach and attack this month, because it's going to take a month to actually break it.
Right.
And then my week to week goals around money is learning. Can I learn one thing about money this week? And I really see these ideas around building out goals. And then the next challenge and a great introduction to your kids is conscious spending. And that is not being, hey, you spent too much here, or you didn't spend enough there. It's challenging them to, maybe in a day, or if they can in a week, document, write down how much money went into everything that they did. Whether
Right.
that's, I got up and I went to school. Well, I put on clothes, which costs money. I got in a car, which costs money. I put in gas, which costs money. Having that consciousness around spending, around what things are worth, it really begins to build the value aspect. Again, not negative or positive. I don't ever say, look at your spending and try to cut this one out. You get to that based on your priorities, based on those goals you set. I'm a big believer that you do not want to change until you are prioritizing the reasons why. So if you can be conscious and even find some things you're spending money on that you want to increase,
Okay.
but realizing if you increase over here, you have to decrease somewhere else, that
Right.
begins to see the value aspect of it. My daughter, who's only 5.5, we were just ice skating, and she was in a bad mood while we were ice skating. And so I pulled her off to the side and I said, listen, we talk, daddy goes to work, daddy and mommy work for money. And we pay money to do these kinds of things. And listen, the only value we get out of it is seeing a smile on your face. And so if I don't see that smile, then we're not going to spend money to do these things. And sure enough, that concept really hit home. She started to understand it. And it was that reality that she understood what the money thing she's been hearing about was for.
Right. Okay. Wow. Those are some really good tips. Certainly the parents can implement starting today. Some of those things.
And one I do, and I love this, and this is one, not for every parent, but for some parents out there, around the Roth account. So the IRS, the government, technically doesn't care where the money came from. If your child is earning money, which means they have a part-time job, a full-time job, and they say they want to save $500, the parent can actually put that $500 to kind of initiate the saving, investing mindset. So if I'm a student, I had a summer job, I made $1,000, I can put up to $1,000 in my Roth account. As a parent, if you say, hey, you put in 500, I'll put in 500, that is one item and tool that I've encouraged my students to go and talk to their parents about, in saying, hey, this should be encouraged. This should be a thing that I'm trying to do with my life. And that as a parent, I see it, I understand it, I appreciate it, and I want to support you in it. And so that's a neat little caveat, a trick that some parents have written to me and said, yeah, we got a 2 for one deal going up to how much ever money they made this summer.
Wow. I love that. Definitely. So I'll keep in mind, my daughter's 8 months here, 8 months now, but hey, so she can start making money.
Let me introduce you to a 529 account. That's for college savings. You can go get one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Now, Jedidiah, I know there are some parents on listening who they have kids and teenagers who have aspirations of becoming professional athletes, possibly playing in NFL or whatever sport. In context of just being a professional athlete, what are some misconceptions, especially around the idea of money or the concept of money?
Oh, wow. Something I actually write into the New York Times about once a year around draft time. People think your contract is the money you take home. People very quickly don't realize you make about half of that. So whatever first rounder made $20 million, if they spend like they have $20 million, they're not only broke, they're in very serious debt.
Yeah.
I would also say some numbers. Again, I'm an accounting guy, so numbers to me, I was told there were 10,000 high school students in California trying to get college scholarships, of which only about 6.5% get scholarships.
Okay.
So that's about 650. Of those, only about 1% will go pro. So that leaves 6.5. The real reality was when I realized 70% of professional athletes end up with no money to show for it 3 to 5 years after they're retired. So that boils down to 1 in 10,000. That meant of every guy I played against in high school, college, and the NFL, only one of them would achieve what we all sought out for as the quote-unquote NFL dream. So my challenge to young people, I never want to diminish dreams. I never want to say, hey, that's not going to be you, because that is going to be some people, and that is something you need to cherish and chase. Believe me, the real world will be there whenever dream is over.
True.
But what I challenge people to do, especially around money specifically, you leave the game of football with a bag of M&Ms, some money and some memories. So hopefully you have both. But to realize that the game is not going to give you finances. The game is not going to give you money. The game is going to give you lessons. And any sport, any challenging event that you're in is going to teach you more about yourself than it is going to fill up your bank account. And so if you can take note of what made you successful on the field, that will pay you dividends throughout life, and that will give you something to go and do off of the field and in your real future and career. So I love talking money with young athletes. I love introducing them to that idea of taxes. I also love introducing them to the idea of being rich versus being wealthy. Okay. Being rich is a rookie who just got a signing bonus, and today they have more money than they know what to do with. Being wealthy is how many days you have between today and when you have to worry about money. And being wealthy is life-changing, generational changing. And so rich is today, wealth is forever. And that is a mindset I love to shift in. Your dream, the NFL dream, is to not walk across that stage as a first-round draft pick. Your dream is to play 10 years and walk out of that locker room with the M&M pack still intact.
Right. Wow. Yes, certainly being wealthy sounds like a better deal, something to aspire to.
It's a concept most guys, myself included, we didn't grow up knowing the difference. You don't see the difference. You see rich, I got money, I'm going to get a car. That's the relationship.
Yeah. What can I buy? What can I spend it on?
Yeah.
And you mentioned one of the classics, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was probably one of the first financial books that I read that kind of helped really change my mindset about money and wealth.
So my hope, so 40 years ago, Robert Kiyosaki changed the game. He wrote a very understandable, very digestible book around personal finances. I would challenge it to say he didn't give so much clear actions of what to go do, but from a mindset perspective, bar none, best out there.
Right.
But it's been 40 years. And so my hope is truly your money vehicle. I don't think it could be the next Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but it is definitely trying to set out to be that realm of how do you begin a financial plan? How do you begin your thinking? How do you change your mindset. One of the big things I talk about is what type of or you are. Are you a spendor, a savor, or an investor?
Okay.
And it all depends on how long you see money. If you see money in that day-to-day time frame, you're a spender. If you see it in the next year to 2 years trying to get a car or a vacation, you're a saver, which is a great first step. But you're always going to lose out because of inflation and because you're competing with investors who go and put their money to work for them, turn money into their employee.
Right.
So it is a big, big significant difference. But Rich Dad Poor Dad is an amazing book. I hope mine can one day be mentioned in the realm of that kind of change.
Yeah, I certainly believe it will be, because you truly have a gift for really breaking down these complicated concepts, financial concepts, and making it really easy to understand and visualize. I'm truly impressed and honestly looking forward to reading your book, or if you do the audio book, that's my preference, but certainly.
give me a few weeks.
All right, perfect. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the audio book. But Jedidiah, you've given us a lot of great tips, resources, and strategies. You have a wealth of knowledge and experience, like the M&Ms, the money and memories. We really appreciate you. Jedidiah, is any closing words of advice you want to give parents?
No. One, I would just tell them to keep seeking out people like you, Derek, in their lives that are going to help give them direction and guidance. Two, if you would like a challenge, on my website, JedidiahCollins.com, I have a free financial literacy test that I'm proud and sad to say the vast majority of people have not passed. But the last thing is to really show people, young people, that their careers, and this is something we both agree on, work is literally killing us. The most heart attacks are registered Monday morning around 8 to 8:30.
Wow.
So if you can see anything with money, we all need money. We all need to go pay a mortgage or have kids or whatever it is. Money is an essential tool. But if you can show young people that if you chase something that you love and get energy from, the money will come. Yeah. And that is a vision I hope more and more people start to take, and to see as they get money, now money becomes their employee instead of just going to work for it. I think that's a great concept to leave.
Certainly. Love it. And I guess the last part, like example of that, is having a book where it can be a source of passive income, where it's working for you while you're sleeping. Yes,
we'll see. Hopefully some people go get one.
Well, I'll definitely be one of them. I highly encourage the listener to do so as well. The sooner they can start just introducing that financial literacy to their teens, the better. And I plan on taking that literacy test today too. Hopefully see if how well I do. Indeed. But Jedidiah, how can the listeners get in contact with you? I know you just mentioned your website.
Yeah, website, my YouTube channel, Jedidiah Collins, Twitter. I'm on TikTok now because that's where our audience is, Instagram, but truly Jedidiah.Collins at gmail.com. I love hearing feedback. I love hearing ideas and questions because that's where I build out curriculum. So by all means, I welcome interactions.
Fantastic. We really appreciate you and looking forward to having you back. I know you're going to be a bestseller, and it's already been predicted, impact millions. So thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
You've been listening to Mentor Select. Mentor Select. Parenting teens to be successful adults. Hosted by R.I.C.H Phillips. Raising teenagers is hard. Understatement of the century. We get it. That's why R.I.C.H interviews leading experts that work with teens, educators, counselors, mentors, and authors to give you practical tips, strategies, and resources that you can incorporate immediately to better connect and understand your teen. That's why we do the show. Be sure to share Mentor Select with other parents of teens. Follow us on social media at Mentor Select to stay up to date on the latest tips, strategies, and resources for parenting teens. Send your questions and comments to R.I.C.H at mentorselect.com. Tune in every Wednesday for new episodes. Till next time, this is Mentor Select.